Hi, I'm Shakayla, and this is my channel, Shakayla Says. So this week, instead of reviewing a book or a movie, I'm going to be reviewing Season 4 of The Flash. This season, obviously, is the fourth season of the show, and if you haven't seen it before, let me give you a little rundown. Basically, it's about this guy called Barry Allen, and he was this, like, forensic scientist or whatever else. Yeah, he's a forensic scientist at the police station, and he gets into an accident where he gets these superpowers, so now he can run super fast. And then, basically, in season 1, he's fighting the guy who killed his mother, who's also a speedster like him. Ooh. And then in season 2, he's fighting the guy who killed his father, who's also a speedster like him. And then in season 3, he's fighting a speedster who's gonna kill his fiance. Perfect. And now this season, he's not fighting a speedster, he's fighting this guy who's super smart called the Thinker. Okay, so basically, at the end of season 3, his fiance, Iris, she is in danger of being killed by a future version of himself. So the future version of himself kills Iris, but then it's not really Iris, it's some other guy who's irrelevant to the plot, and he ends up dying. And then that happens right at the end of season 3, and then that's in the beginning half of the last episode of season 3. But in the end of the episode, it's on about how he has to go into the Speed Force. The Speed Force is basically the place where he gets all his powers from. So he has to go into the Speed Force because there's like lightning raining down from the sky, but it's really dangerous or something like that. So that's like the little cliffhanger we get for season 4. And then in season 4, the first episode, they're trying to get him out of the Speed Force. They're getting him out of the Speed Force, successfully getting him out, but he's speaking in African tongues, so nobody could understand him. So, and he's writing symbols on the walls, and he's like foreshadowing everything that's gonna happen in the season, but like, you don't know it yet. So yeah, he says stuff like, I didn't kill him, and then like halfway through the season he has to go on trial for killing somebody. Okay, so in this first half, in the very first episode, introduced to the villain of the season, and that is the Thinker. Basically, the Thinker is called DeVoe. Basically, DeVoe's grand master plan involves the 12 bus matters, and Barry has to go to jail. Basically, the main villain, he barely ever gets up until like he gets a new body. So he sat there sitting in his chair for like 3 to 4 episodes. More than that, it's more than that actually. And you get a bit of an ominous ending where he's like, oh, my plan is working now. Like, you know, evil fingers type thing, like, oh, my plan is working now. So he's like that. And obviously, because he didn't want Barry to come out of the Speed Force, and this is all part of his grand plan. And basically, he's planned everything to happen the way he wants it to happen, because he's the smartest man alive, and he's got the fastest brain in the world and stuff like that. In the episode, as I said before, Barry's speaking in African tongues, so nobody can understand him. But by the end of the episode, he's not anymore. Later on, like a few episodes later, I think, there's this girl introduced. You don't know her name or who she is, but she also is writing in African tongues, like Barry was. So yeah, it's kind of intriguing. Okay, and so within the Thinker's evil plan, it's like, oh, he's got to. Basically, when Barry came out of the Speed Force, there was like a little opening, and he came out, and there was a bus near it, and all the people on the bus now have superpowers. So that was all part of DeVoe's evil plan. So now there's 12 bus matters, and they have to kind of save them or whatever. Just try and get them away from the Thinker, because, you know, they don't want to get involved. There's a reason why he wants them. Because he wants them to take their powers and stuff like that. Because he uses suction device in his mind. It looks so weird. He uses a suction device in his mind and just goes. He just I don't know how to explain it. He puts some thinking cap on, and then there's little octopus squids coming out of it, and then he can just transfer his consciousness to somebody else. So yeah, and that's how he's gonna like he wants the bus matters so he can have all these superpowers that the Flash can't stop him. Basically, he uses like the bus matters as like his plan B, so like things don't go out well, just use your powers. So people in this universe who have superpowers are called meta-humans, but people just call them metas for short. And since they were on the bus, they call them bus metas. So they call them the bus metas. It was a better season than last season's. I liked it more, but I still got my complaints about it. I'll start with stuff I liked first. Yeah, I did like the villain a lot more than I liked last season's villain, because they went for the trope like, it's the villain is actually you from the future, dun 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 dun. It was that type of thing, so I was like, I'm just glad it's something different. It wasn't another speedster, it was like somebody else. It was more interesting than another speedster. So in this season, it actually lived up to like its threats or whatever, because you expect Barry not to go to prison, but in the end he does, and he's sentenced to life in prison. But in the end of the day, only like lasted for like 3 episodes, but at least he lived up to the threat, so you know. And it was, as I said before, it was better than last season, because last season was really broody. It was like watching like the Vampire Diaries like times 10. It was really broody, so it was like, can I have something a bit lighter? So this season, it's not as like happy and light as it was in like season 1, but it's like better than season 3. Ralph's death was actually kind of impactful. Like they were moping about him for like 3 episodes, I think. Yeah, about 3 episodes they're moping about him. But normally when someone dies in this, like next episode, they cry for like 2 minutes, and after that they're like, my dad died? When did that happen? It was like, it's like that, but you know, it actually like has some impact this time. And then it actually kind of like sucked me in to see what I wanted to see for the next episode. Like, sometimes you're watching a program and you see, and you just think to yourself like, what's going to happen next episode, because I don't really care. But like this season, you're kind of like thinking like, what's his evil plan, because it's not really making much sense to me right now. And since the rest of them aren't that smart, and he's like this super mega smart person, you have to wait until the end to see what his plan was. You know what I mean? So now for some of the things I like, I'm going to talk about some of the things I dislike. Like, when he went to prison, it didn't make any sense at all. Okay, so basically he goes to his apartment and he finds the robe with a stab wound, and it's from a knife he got as a wedding present. So surely if they were looking for evidence, they would look through his like phone calls, because in the phone call he was on about, oh, go to your apartment, I've left a little surprise for you. And it's obviously like, isn't that kind of suspicious from like a police investigating team's point of view, someone calling them and saying go to your apartment, and as soon as they go to your apartment they found a dead body. And like, it didn't really make sense either, because his body was right in the middle of like the carpet, and there was blood there, and there was like no blood dragged on the floor. DeVoe was in a wheelchair, so the man can't just get up and do it himself. So obviously the only way that could possibly happen is if he picked him up, and after he killed him, he put him in the middle of the floor, cleaned up the blood, and then left the blood that was near his body there for some reason. And that's the only way it could possibly work. Or the man miraculously got up, walked, and then stayed there. But that's not possible because the man can't walk. So it didn't really make any sense. The episodes where he was in prison are kind of boring, because it's like, it's a show about the Flash, and I don't really care about the other superheroes as much. Like, okay, so basically in this season I feel there's a lot of filler, and some of the filler was all these irrelevant love stories, like with Kid Flash, who's in this. I didn't mention him because he's not really important, and he leaves like halfway through as well. So he's got this girlfriend who lives on another Earth, and it goes over that, and it's like they break up, and it's like, I didn't really care about them in the first place, so Mom says to care now. And then it also goes through Bud and his girlfriend, and how they're both in a relationship on different Earths, and they break up, and it's like, I didn't really care in the first place. So, you know, basically in this season, like, Barry is a lot more like, he's just a lot meaner than he was like in the first season. He's just like, when Ralph was scared for his life, he was saying stuff like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. That's perfectly fine because he's scared for his life. And Barry's just like, oh, why don't you want to do this? You know what I mean? Like, It's like he was just being kind of tired. Like, if my life was in risk, I won't be fighting nobody. I won't be sitting sad. I'd be living my life up, other than like helping other people. No offense, but like be living my life up first before I die. You know what I mean? Sure, but that's only like those are my complaints. But it was better than season 3, so I think it gives this like season 1 about Aisha like a 7 overall. Okay, I've been Shakayla. This is my channel. Goodbye.